morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a new Alolan Marowak card. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've already had a couple of these, and I showed you the other day that we're getting a box with a GX, but apparently that's not enough Alolan Marowak. So we're getting a new one. Interesting little side note, this is the first Psychic type Alolan Marowak, which is not a reprint of an existing Fire type. There you go. Fun little fact. But what does it do? Well, if we start off having a look at the basics here, we got 120 HP, which is frankly not ideal. It means something like Zoroark will have a field day. Having said that, you got a weakness to Zoroark, so maybe I should have said Buzzwole will have a field day. But having said that, you have got resistance to Buzzwole and all other fighting types, so I don't know, 130 is still better, gosh darn it. The retreat cost of 2, frankly, very, very bad. And the Psychic typing means you're hitting weakness on Buzzwole. And it means that you are able to use stuff like Spell Tag, which is quite nice. So yeah, bad weakness, not great HP, but we like the resistance and we like the typing. But what does it actually do? Well, the first attack here is incredibly strange. Our translation does come from the lovely David Hochmann over at RappelmannTCG, over on Facebook. Check him out, as previously mentioned, lovely man. And it's a very strange, unique attack which says, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If that card is a Pokemon, this attack does as much damage as the HP from the Pokemon you discarded. Really genuinely looking forward to seeing how they word that when it is translated and brought over into English. It's a very weird attack. And look, on the face of it, just to begin, it discards a card. It's a little bit of milling. We've got a couple of really nice milling cards coming soon. We've got Diglett, which, when you discard it using Giovanni's Banishment, discard 2 undamaged bench Pokemon, you get to discard a card from the top of your opponent's deck. And we've got Rhyhorn here, which, if you've used Giovanni's Punishment, you get to discard 5 cards from the top of your opponent's deck for just a double colorless energy. Otherwise, you're just discarding 1, and Alolan Marowak is just better. The other thing to remember about Alolan Marowak, this is for 0 energy. This is a free attack. You get to use this attack without even having to use any energy. That's pretty gosh darn nice. That's really gosh darn nice. In terms of milling, it's fine. It is not a card that you play to mill your opponent. It is a card you play that can mill your opponent. I don't think you really want to focus on this because, you know what? Rhyhorn's a stage 1, and okay, it's a double colorless energy rather than no energy, but it's still only 1 energy attachment. It's really not that difficult. But as cheeky milling, extra milling, unexpected milling, I could keep going, but you see where I'm going with this. It's really gosh darn nice. But what about this whole damage thing? This is the bit that really, really intrigues me here. It's not always going to happen. You're not always going to hit a Pokemon, and if you do hit a Pokemon, you're not always going to hit the right Pokemon. But if you can hit the right Pokemon, that's kind of cool. And here's the thing, right? We do have a card that can actually help us out here. It's Hiker. One of those cards that we thought, well, maybe there'll be a use for it one day. There totally is. Hiker reads, look at the top 5 cards of either player's deck and choose one of them. That player shuffles the other cards back into their deck, then put the card you chose on top of that deck. So essentially here, you can play Hiker, and then you put a Pokemon on top of their deck, then you attack with Alolan Marowak, and you're guaranteed to hit that Pokemon you've just put it on top of their deck, and then you just sit and laugh. It genuinely can work. Now, we do have an Absol which does a similar thing, but it's for an attack, and you can't do that, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do this. Future Sight from Absol lets you look at the top 4 cards of either player's deck and put them back in any order. I mean, all it takes is for your opponent to play something like a Cynthia or an Ultra Ball, so that they shuffle their deck and it's gone. And also, it's an attack, and then you use Alolan Marowak the next turn. No. It's not good enough. You can't do it, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot do it. Don't do it. However, we are getting the upcoming Frost Ice Axe, which is kind of like a weaker Hiker, but it is as an item card, not as a supporter. And Hiker, of course, being a supporter, is the only one you get to play for your turn. Look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, shuffle 2 of them back into their deck, and put the other one on top of your opponent's deck. Now, it's only 3 rather than 5, but we see this all the time in the Pokemon TCG. You can have an item card which is functionally the same as a supporter card. However, it is a weaker version thereof. Either way, I think it's kind of cool. So, what decks can this be good against? And one of the decks that comes to mind for me is any quad deck. So over in Japan, we've seen some love for quad Blacephalon. Blacephalon here has 180 HP. And clearly here, if you're doing the same amount of HP as they've got, you are going to win. Now, it's not necessarily great if you're not in a quad deck. But if they're only playing 4 Blacephalon, then their active Pokemon must be a Blacephalon, and the only Pokemon you're going to hit is a Blacephalon, so you are going to get a one-hit KO. Now, if they're playing a quad deck, they've only got 4 Pokemon in their deck, the chances of actually hitting one with this attack are quite weak, but you get 2 prizes off it. The other thing that's seen quite a lot of play here is Pheromosa and Buzzwole Tag Team GX, which again, you'll get a one-hit KO for 3 prizes. You could hit something like a Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX here, and you would get a one-hit KO for 3 prizes. The issue being that actually this isn't ideal outside of a quad deck. Because let's say you're against a Magikarp and Wailord and you flip a Quagsire. Well, the good news is you do 120 damage. Yay! The bad news is you are miles away from actually getting a KO. I don't think this is a terrible attack. I think it is a very risky attack. And I believe that if you're going to do this, you've got to use Hiker and Frost Ice Axe. Incidentally, Frost Ice Axe is exactly the kind of thing you'd find Hiker using. So yay! Thematically correct. And I think it's a bring it up when you can. If you just want something to do a bit of extra milling with a chance of a KO, this is good. If you're playing Hiker and you can get shenanigans rolling, this is really good. Outside of that, I fear it's too risky. As for the second attack here, Psychic, colorless, 60 damage. The attack cost isn't amazing, but we do have Malamar, and we do have counter energy. And counter gain if you're behind on prizes, so we can pay the cost here. As for 60 damage, it's not quite enough. 70. We've seen a million different psychic Pokemon recently, like Mewtwo, that do 70 damage. I've started mocking in my videos the fact they all do 70 damage. But the thing is, 70 is enough to get a straight KO on a non-GX Buzzwole, and with a choice band enough to get a KO on a GX Buzzwole. With this, you need a choice band and a Shrine of Punishment to get a one-hit KO. And it's fine, you can get the KO, and you'll get 2 prizes, and that's nice. It's not undoable, but it's not exactly easy, ladies and gentlemen. It really, really isn't. I love the first attack, but it is unreliable, and it is very, very niche. The second attack, I just don't think is worth really going for. So, let's give Alolan Marowak 3 Wassies. If you're playing a mill deck, actually something like Hiker and Frost Ice Axe could be fun, because you can set your opponent's top deck, guaranteeing that they can't attack next turn, and in a mill deck, stopping your opponent attacking is a great, great thing. Outside of that, I really don't know if it's reliable enough. But I'd like to know if you think if it's reliable enough, so do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/TheWassy. patreon.com/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about other games that don't have Pokemon in, like Keyforge and Transformers, which are both awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.